Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Genshin Imapct 3. Since the beginning, we've treated Dendro like the runt of the litter, the black sheep, the ugly duckling, if you will. Will the green element grow into the beautiful swan? Or will it stay the idiot with its head on fire? Well, with 2.5 new Dendro characters released to the public, it's my duty and obligation to translate these bizarre mathematical hieroglyphics into the palatable hype-train gossip that I call my YouTube content. So buckle your britches, bitches. It's time to discuss the skills, strengths, and styles of the characters of Dendro. The land of Sumeru lies to the southwest of Liyue, past the giant Rasengan hole, and is the land blessed by the Dendro Archon to be covered in a dense greenery and massive forests. Except where it's a desert. Blessings only go so far, I guess. Exploring this land, you will apparently be greeted by a group of forest sprites who can only be seen by children. But don't worry, it's not creepy because they're nice. Or they just don't leave witnesses. It's likely that the first playable character we'll meet in Sumeru will be Collei, a 4-star Dendro bow user. There is speculation that Collei may be available for free at some point, or possibly permanently, which would make sense for a number of reasons. The first being that currently, there is at least one character from each element that is available for free, so with the addition of Dendro to the playable roster, it makes sense that there would be a new freebie. The second reason it makes sense is because Collei will almost certainly suck. A lot of her character design is just a straight up carbon copy of Amber. Not a good look to be rocking. Sorry, Amber mains, you just keep on being you. The one thing Collei won't suck at is proccing and boosting Dendro. Dendro is chalking up to be a reaction-heavy technical support element with 3 primary and 4 secondary reactions, which all have different effects. First off is burning, which we've already known about. It causes pyro damage over time and makes slimes freak right out. Can't blame them, really. Next is overgrowth, a combination of Dendro and Hydro, which will spawn Dendro cores in the immediate area. These eventually explode, doing AoE Dendro damage after a duration, or if more than 5 other cores have been generated. This reaction has also been called Bloom. And the final primary reaction is Intensify, also known as Quicken. Also known as catalyze. I don't know, okay? People suck at translating. When Dendro reacts with Electro, the reaction causes the target to become more susceptible to both Dendro and Electro type damage. Both Overgrowth and Intensify have 2 sub-reactions that can be triggered by applying a third element to the mix. An opponent who's under the effect of Intensify is susceptible to the effects of Aggravate and Spread, which occur when the target is hit by Electro or Dendro damage, respectively. These reactions are simply damage buffs, which will scale based on elemental mastery. When Overgrowth is triggered and Dendro cores are generated, there's a short period of time when they just sit there. If you hit one of these cores with the Pyro element, it will cause the secondary reaction Burgeon, which increases the range and damage of the Dendro explosion. Now, I enjoy bigger explosions just as much as the next guy. Give me a Michael Bay movie any day. But unfortunately, these little beauties aren't picky about who they're blowing up. It's only a fraction of what they're doing to everyone else, but you'll still be taking hits if you're setting these things off from up close. And as they are affected by Animo crowd control moves, it's all too easy to do that. If these cores react with Electro, however, it will create my new favorite reaction, Hyper Bloom, changing the core from a grenade to a guided missile, tracking a target and hitting them with Dendro damage. This effect not only alleviates the friendly fire issue, but will also synergize really well with the electro-charged reactions that will be happening alongside them. Jumping from enemy to enemy, reapplying all the elements over and over to create a chain reaction of reactions that react to their own reactions, turning the battlefield into an impossible tornado of fireworks and wood chippers that will atomize the local hilly churls and set fire to your GPU. Now that you can understand just how awesome it is to have a consistent off-field Dendro source, you can appreciate Collei's kit a whole lot more. While her normal attack attacks are meager at best, her skill throws out a boomerang that will swing through enemies, dealing Dendro damage both on its way out and on its way back to you. The outright damage scaling is okay, but the real treat comes from her second passive skill, Floral Sidewinder, which gives anyone in your party the Sprout effect if they cause a Dendro reaction while the boomerang is out. The Sprout effect grants 3 seconds of continuous Dendro damage, equal to 40% of Collei's attack power, to any enemies nearby. And this effect can be extended another 3 seconds with her second constellation. For her burst, she throws out her Baron her Kulian Anbar, which explodes, dealing an initial burst of Dendro damage, and creating a field which will continuously deal out more Dendro damage. Characters inside this field who proc Dendro reactions will extend the duration of this effect from 6 seconds up to a potential of 9. Her C1 bursts her off-field energy recharge, her C3 boosts party-wide EM, and her C6 boosts her burst damage. Alright, next. Our next character and first 5-star Dendro big boy is Tighnari. If Collei was Dendro Amber, Tighnari is Dendro Ganyu. His kit revolves around a 2-phase charge shot, which will burst on impact into a swarm of cluster bloom arrows that will track targets in a similar fashion to the hyper bloom effect. The base attack damage multipliers on the wreath shot and its cluster blooms aren't anything to freak out about, but his passive talent, Scholarly Blade, boosts their damage by 0.8% for every point of elemental mastery he has, with a maximum of 80%. This, along with his natural Dendro damage bonus stat, will make those charge shots really start to pop off.
But Dexus, getting 1000 EM on a character who also benefits from crit stats is gonna be impossible.
Well, fear not, my little weeaboos, Daddy has good news for you. There's a whole boatload of new elemental mastery shit coming out in 3.0. Boom! New artifact set, Gilded Dreams. 2-piece effect, 80 elemental mastery. 4-piece set, okay, it's complicated, but long story short, if your party has 4 different elements in it, that's another 150 elemental mastery. Boom! 4-star weapon that just slaps on another 140 EM for using your skill or burst. Boom! Tighnari's own passive skill, Keen Sight, gives himself another 50 EM for 4 seconds after he shoots a charge shot. Does this stack? I don't know. It doesn't say that it doesn't, so how many charge shots can you do in 4 seconds? Well, normally it would only be 2, because it takes 2 seconds to charge a shot, but you just used your skill for the weapon's EM boost, right? Well, thing is, Tighnari's skill taunts opponents and gives him the penetrator effect, yet it's the penetrator effect that cuts down his next 3 charge shots to only half a second of charging time, so now you can get 4 shots in 4 seconds, giving you a temporary boost of 200 more elemental mastery. That's 570 elemental mastery right there, before artifact stats or EM boosting teammates. Do I think Tighnari is gonna pop off a little? Yeah, I do. And he's got those cute ears too. The Archon of Sumeru is apparently the youngest of the Archons, at a mere 500 years old, which is about how long it takes for Raiden to work up a good sweat. While her debut as a playable character is still a ways off, we do have a couple of good touchstones to draw conclusions from. There has long been a theory that the slimes mimic the Archons of their elements. To an extent. Anemo Slime go up, Anemo Archon go up. Geo Slime go shield, Geo Archon go shield. Electro Slime has a happier friend who inevitably dies first. Well, you get the idea. Dendro Slimes have always been a little different. But in general, its major features are: it can hide underground, it can release a cloud of harmful poison either in the area around itself or by tossing seeds out towards the player, and it can spawn a full horde of mini Dendro Slimes to fight for it. All of these attributes are things I could see the Archon of Dendro being able to do. Maybe she'll have a sprint mechanic similar to Mona or Ayaka, where she dives underground and can stay there to hide from damage. Maybe she can spawn poisonous plants that chase enemies around and fart on them or something, who knows. But now, a new clue has been added to the board, the Traveler. When the Traveler appropriates the element of each nation, their new abilities also seem to have similarities to the abilities of the Archon. To an extent. Anemo Traveler makes suck, Anemo Archon makes suck. Geo Traveler make rock, Geo Archon make rock. Electro Traveler has a good friend who dies. Okay, we get it. The point I'm making here is that between the 2 points, there exists at least a portion of the Archon's kit. The Dendro infused travelers will have the skill Razor Grass Blade, a quick, wide-range swipe dealing Dendro damage that can hit for up to, oh shit, 490%? Damn, okay. But the burst is where things get interesting. Surgent Manifestation plants a Lee Lotus lamp that, on its own, will perform continuous bursts of Dendro damage inside its radius. What's interesting is that other elemental reactions will alter the effects of the lamp. Adding Electro will increase the speed of the Dendro bursts. Adding Hydro will increase the AoE of both the lamp and the individual bursts. And adding Pyro will make the entire lamp explode, dealing up to 850% explosion damage. That's big numbers for the Traveler. None of their other elements come anywhere near that, and this damage is actually boosted even more by their passive talent Verdant Luxury. For every point of elemental mastery they have, the Traveler gains 0.1% burst damage and 0.15% skill damage. And unlike Tighnari, this effect has no upper limit. So with those new EM boosting effects I mentioned earlier, the Traveler could, and I never thought I would say this, actually be viable. And not just as a burst DPS, but as a support as well. Between constellations and passive talents, any characters inside the range of the lamp will gain up to 60 elemental mastery, 12% Dendro damage bonus, and 12% elemental damage bonus for either Hydro or Electro, depending on which element is mixed with the lamp. Oh, well, the stage is set. We have all the clues we're gonna see. Let's place our bets on Lesser Lord Kusanali. I don't know why I made that rhyme. I am very tired. There are a few pieces of the puzzle that we can just mark down right now. The Archons are always the best at what their element is made for. Crowd control, energy recharge, defense, this is what they do. And it's been all but set in stone that the Archons are never going to be main DPS units. Dendro is clearly the elemental mastery buffing element. Everyone's kit is elemental mastery related, so we can be pretty certain that Kusanali is going to take that and just max it out. And that is going to be kinda nutty, because we already have really good elemental mastery boosters. I mean, we thought that Noelle and Diona had strong shields before goddamn Rex Lapis over here just strolled up and went,
I will have order!
We used to have to use Bennett to battery Zhang Ling before Raiden started her own daytime TV show and went out there like, you get your burst back and you get your burst back. If our little lord here steps over these EM boosters to the same degree that Raiden and Zhang Li stepped over their competition, it's about to get wild up in here, to say the least. Which is why I suspect that this ability, while undoubtedly super overpowered, will probably have specific limitations or maybe some kind of downside. Like how Venti's huge CC is super strong, but it also lifts your enemies out of my fucking reach so I can't even hit them. That being said, MiHoYo isn't one to shy away from a good old-fashioned power creep if it keeps their 5 stars flying off the shelves. Along with Dendro's reaction-heavy elemental style, I expect we'll see a similar reactive ability that will have multiple functions based on other elements that come into contact with it. There also seems to be a pretty consistent pattern of Dendro characters growing some kind of plant or throwing some kind of seed that will generate an AoE, or otherwise finds enemies and attacks with a sort of intelligence or will of its own. And lastly, Kusanali is a chibi, a teensy little girl with the same classic elf ears as Klee. So far, every character in this height range has been a hilarious meme come to life, and Dory, an Electro Claymore user that I am not going to get into because this video is already 15 minutes long, is no exception. I mean, look at that. That's hilarious. Alright, you heard it here first, folks. What do you think? Dendro Archon, confirmed badass, guaranteed pull? What do you think her abilities are gonna be? If you nail it in the comment section, I'll pull 4 on your account. How do you like that? MiHoYo, if you sue me, I'll know I'm right, and so will everyone else, so back off. And also, thanks for watching. Everybody, subscribe to Game Time.